Hello everyone, my name is Amanda and welcome back to another video of the Planty Mandy. I hope all of you are having a great week so far, and yesterday I just got one of my shipments of Hoyas from Thailand, and I think this will be the perfect opportunity for me to show you guys them and also go over a very important topic, which is how to rehab your plant that's come from overseas. So this video is intended to serve as a continuation of my last Hoya from Thailand video. So if you guys saw that video before, I also show you some of the Hoyas I got from Thailand. But also I discuss, in details what to expect when ordering, plants from overseas. And I talk about, how to set the correct expectation, like what kind of rules and regulations that, we should pay attention on, how to find a reputable seller. So if you guys haven't checked that out yet, I'll leave the link somewhere on the screen so you guys can look at it. So this time, instead of talking about stuff that we should pay attention on before we order the Hoyas, we're going to move to, the back end of the timeline, which is what to do when you actually receive the plants. So one of the most important things that we need to understand how to do is how to rehab the plants when it's actually get to us from overseas. So by rehabbing, I mean pretty much just nursing the plants back to health, because, it's important, you think about the plants travel from overseas, doesn't matter Thailand, Indonesia, or Southeast Asia country, or even Europe. So basically the plants has been stuck in the box for a few weeks most of the time. Even if you order express, it will still take maybe 3 to 4 days, or sometimes 5 to 7 days. So with that extended period of time, the plants that is in the box, plus most of the time the plants went through some kind of sanitation procedure before they're shipped. So the plants actually went through tremendous stress, when they're being shipped overseas. And that's why when it gets to our home, it have to get used to a whole new environment after being stuck in the box for weeks. So that's why it's important for us to really pay attention on how to nurse the plants back to health. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about, what you want to do when you actually receive your plants by showing you what I literally have done yesterday. Like I said, I got this box yesterday. To be more precise, I actually got it last night. And that's actually the reason I didn't, I wasn't able to do a unboxing video because it was already kind of dark. I didn't have the lighting to film. So I decided, I'm just going to film this morning because I don't want the plants to be stuck in the box for another, 8-9 hours, to create extra stress because the plants was already stressed out. Which brings me to my first point. When you first got your plants from overseas, you really want to unbox it ASAP, because the reason is, like I said earlier, the plants already stuck in the box for weeks. There's low lights, there's very minimal moisture or water. You're risking the plants to be rotten, if your sellers decide to wrap it in moist sphagnum moss. So basically, the longer you leave the plants in the box, the higher the chance that the plants, may not survive. So that's why I decided, okay, I want to open it ASAP and then just film it with you guys, today. And I did save the box though, so you guys can, take a good look of it. So it's a pretty big box. Yeah, it is. It's only 5 Hoyas though. This is one of my smaller shipments. I have one that have 20. It's coming, but we'll talk about it next time. But anyway, so this is the sellers that I purchased repeatedly because he just have really good quality plants and great customer service. So as you can see, I want to show you in particular this. So if you see the tape on the box, it said, I can read upside down. Okay, there you go. It said opened for inspection by the U.S. Customs Border Protection. So it means that the U.S. Customs, whatever port it's land in, so I'm in the United States, California, they actually open the box to check, because all the plants that you imported from overseas, they will check to make sure that, you know, there's no pest or no disease, and they will look for this thing, which is called a phytosanitary certificate. So essentially, it's a certificate that issued by the agriculture department of whatever countries you import in, you know, to certify that there's no pests. So in order for the growers to obtain this and ship it with you, they have to basically remove all the organic compound on the root system, meaning that they have to remove all the soil, because soil is the thing that may harbor pests or disease, right? So yeah, they have to remove all the organic materials, and then they have to basically dip the whole plants in pesticides or insecticides to make sure that, you know, all the fungus or disease or pests are dead before the plants are being shipped. So this is one of the precautions measure that, you know, the whatever import country can ensure that we don't bring any, you know, pests or disease, or even like, you know, foreign organism into the country that they don't belong in, because that's gonna be really damaging for the local ecosystem. I cannot speak for all the countries or the states, but I know that at least in California, United States, because we do have a pretty substantial agriculture industry, especially in the Central Coast area. So the import regulations and inspection, it's a little bit more strict here. So yeah, other states may have different regulations, but overall, I know that the phytosanitary certificate is a must. So this is a phytosanitary certificate. Oh my God, it's like such a long word. That I got inside the box. So like, yeah, I opened the box, right? And then, you know, the grower, the senders actually pack it really well with all these papers. That's why I really like this sellers. Every time he just, you know, does such a wonderful job. So this thing, when I opened the box, was in here, right? And what the US custom do is there's like this, let me see, yeah. So there's this like empty, so hard to show you, empty pouch right here. So the sellers was also required to put a copy of the phytosanitary certificate outside of the box, so the custom can actually like, you know, look at it before they open the box. So yep, so I just want to show you, this is what the box looked like when it first came to me, and I opened it immediately pretty much and take out all the plants. All right, so now we opened the box. The second step that you want to do is to take the plants out and make sure that you didn't forget any plants in there, because sometimes I will forget how many plants I order, and then I took out all the plants because of all the newspaper and stuff like that. You know, I do have to take full choice to make sure that I didn't leave anything in there before I toss out the plants. So once you get all the plants out, right, obviously you want to unwrap it and inspect the plants. So I want to show you, I even say the wrapping. So the plants, to me, when it came to me, obviously there's no more soil because it's not allowed. If you have soil on your plants, it will be confiscated and destroyed by custom. But anyway, I say this. So this is the this is what the wrapping looked like when I first got the plants. So you see all this moist sphagnum moss is actually still moist. So obviously when I opened the box last night, and unpack the plants, like the moss is still moist. So the sellers have all this moist sphagnum moss wrapped around the root system. And after he wrapped, you know, the moss around the root system, he actually, you know, put a piece of plastic, like something like that. That's why I saved it, so I can show you, you know, to, you know, stabilize or like, you know, secure the moss around the root system. So at least the plants would get some kind of moisture during the couple weeks, you know, that it's in, you know, the box. The downside for that is because inside the box, there's no light. So meaning that the plants cannot really use the water that is in the moss. So a lot of time, like, you know, the plants would come with a damaged root system. It could be partially rotted. It could be completely rotted. So, you know, that's why it's important for us to set the expectation when we, you know, purchase plants from overseas. It's just very, I don't want to say unavoidable, because I did have plants from Thailand before the root system was like, you know, totally fine. But most of the time, I would say you would have to do some kind of like intense rehab, or you may just have to cut off the root system and reroot the plants. So regardless, I'm going to show you the plants right now. I ordered 5 plants total, 5 Hoyas total. And then and then as we go into different plants, and then I'll show you like what I actually did, you know, once I unpack the plants. Okay, so this is the first one, and this is the Hoya Sweet Scent. So it's a cultivar. I didn't do too much research on it, but I assume it's called Sweet Scent because probably the flowers smell really good. So you can see this, it has woody green succulent leaves. Yeah, the leaves, it's, you know, we got it more like common, you know, according to most you know, people, I guess. But I love green succulent leaves, so this I really enjoy this one. And then yeah, there's actually, it's a pretty mature plant, so it have like, you know, peduncle on there as well. So yeah, so this is the first one, the Hoya Sweet Scent. It's a bigger plant, and that's one of the reasons I like to order from overseas, because, you know, you can most of the time get like, you know, larger plants. So that's the thing. Okay, so the second one I got, it's Hoya caudata, and this is the green big leaf variety. So there's different varieties of Hoya caudata. I already have a Hoya caudata Sumatra that I get in the US, you know, but I think this one is very interesting because the leaf is a lot bigger than a regular Hoya caudata Sumatra, and it's greener. But other than that, the texture and the rugged edges that I also really like, it's very similar. So it's all look almost like a bigger version of a caudata, but it's greener. So this is the second one. It's also have a little bit of silver on there, so it's really pretty. I like it a lot. So this is the second one, and there's a piece here. Okay, so the third one I got, there's so many pieces for this one, so I'm gonna try to grab it. Yeah, so the third one I got is, ta-da! A Hoya caudata Sumatra. So I said I already have one, but I just really like this species. And as you know, when they come from different regions or different growers, they tend to have different look or growth structure. So I really like to get multiple of the same Hoyas that come from different growers and then see what's the difference. Yeah, that's just my thing. That's why I always have multiple of everything. But yeah, so this is, like I said, the Sumatra. It's a smaller, but like, you know, remember the green leaf, large green leaf version I show you? You know, it's also you know, have this like rugged edges, and I would say the main difference is like, you know, the leaf is smaller, and then you can see some of this like redness, like this like, you know, really like a little bit of sun stress look, like this one, like on the plant. So yeah, so this is a really cute and easy to grow species, surprisingly, in my environment. So yeah, so I really like it. I actually show my current caudata Sumatra in my last Hoya's foliage favorite video, because it's right next to my grow light, so they have a lot of splash on it. So I kind of put it in the splashy category. So if you haven't checked it out yet, check it out. I really love that plant, and that's why I got a second one. So I just want to show you, right, since we have both here, yeah, so you can see the leaf size different. I think that's why this one is called a big leaf, and this is like the Sumatra. Cool. 1, 2, 3. Okay, fourth one. So this one I also already have, but I really like it. So I ordered another one. And this is the Hoya vetilioides, longest name ever. But yeah, so this one, I think it's pretty popular because of its veining, and you can see the wrinkles. So I'll go over that a little bit later because, you know, it's still kind of dehydrated. But yeah, but like this is really popular. I think it's because of its beautiful veining. And as I observe most of the veiny Hoyas, if you give it more light, you know, and also when the plants are, we have a little bit, the veining will show a little bit more and the waxy cuticles will come back. So this is, yay, Hoya vetilioides. So bigger leaf version as well. Cool. Last but not least. Okay, so this one I I also already have, but it was much smaller. And I saw the bigger version he has, my grower had. So I decided, okay, why not get a bigger one? And this is the Hoya Meridii. So Hoya Meridii, I think it's a really beautiful succulent species as well. So you can see it's green. It have like, you know, this really prominent veining on it. And I think it's really popular. It's because it actually gets sun stress. So this is, it came like this. It's already kind of stressed out. So you can see the red on it. And I know that if you give it like more bright light, the current one I have, if you give it more bright light, it's get like really, really red and beautiful. And yeah, I really like it. Older than other one. So yeah, it's a little bit bigger. So yep, Hoya Meridii. Cool. Okay, great. So those are the 5 Hoyas that I got. So now, you know, now that we see all of that, we saw all of that, I'm going to show you what I actually did yesterday. So when you first, you know, got a plant, let me just grab. Oh my God, they are all tangled together. Hold on one second. Okay, there we go. So when I first got it, obviously I opened the packaging, right? So remember I showed you, like, you know, so when I first got it, like the moss, right? It's kind of like just like wrapped around this area with like a piece of plastic like over it. So I want to recreate this for you. So it's literally just look like this, right? And then, you know, wrap in newspaper or whatever paper in there. And I open it. And open it, ta-da! So first thing you want to do when you got plants from overseas, even though they are certified to be pest-free or disease-free, just double check it. Just make sure that there's no like, you know, fungus or like, you know, fungus spot or like bugs on it. And that's what I did the first time. Like the first thing I did when I opened the boxes, I just checked for like, you know, any kind of like, you know, red flags like pests or fungus or any kind of insect. So I checked the plants and it's fine. I check all of them. And the second most important thing you want to check is the roots. So like I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, a lot of time when you order from overseas because of just, you know, the stress the plants endure, most of the time the roots may not be salvageable. Only part of the root system is salvageable. So because I, you know, order plants from overseas quite a bit, so I can tell immediately this root system is no good. But if you want to like test this out, it's very easy. So you see all this like a healthy root system of a Hoya at least should be white, like white and firm and, you know, fleshy. But like I would say like maybe the main tap root, like the main root here, may still be salvageable, but like you see all this like root hair on the side, like you see all this really thin like stringy thing. Those roots are no good. So what I want to do is, if you ask me based on my experience, I will just cut off the whole thing. So that way, you know, I can just re-root it up, you know, as soon as possible. But you can see, yeah, the root is brown and just stringy and thin, and yeah, so I would say it's no good. If with my own like, how do you say, from my own experience and what I used to do. So yeah, what I would do is I would just cut off this whole root system, and then I would cut the plant in sections. and then I'll root it up again. So let's do another example. Let me see if I can find one with better root system. Actually, they're all about the same. Yeah, they're all about the same. So yeah, this one, it's look a little bit better. Yeah, the main root looks okay. But yeah, so those are the stuff that you just kind of have to know what you're looking for, and then take appropriate action ASAP. So the reason I said that I would just cut it off and reroot it, it's because even though the root system may be salvageable, you don't want, how do I say it? Like, you don't want to burden a already weakened root system with so much foliage. So even if I'm going to try to save the root system, I will probably cut off a lot of the foliage, so that way the root system can recover without so much burden. Because think about it, right? The more foliage or the more leaves, a plant have to maintain, the more stressful it is for the root system. So that's why the root system is like the most important part of the plants. Obviously, it's the brain. It's like, if you compare to a human body, it's like the brain of the plants, and you really want to have a healthy root system in order to maintain so much foliage. So with that being said, I check all the plants, and I would say like I will probably cut off all the root and then reroot it. Just to make sure that I can give the plants a good start. Okay, so after you inspect the plants, the next thing you really want to do is to rehydrate and rejuvenate the plants. So remember, the plants was in the box for like weeks. So you really want to give them back the nutrients and all the stuff that it need in order to survive, right? So what I do normally is I would leave the plants in whole, like, oops, sorry, I won't cut it, I wouldn't cut it yet. So I'll just leave the plants in whole, and then I'm gonna mix this plant food that I use, which is Maxi All-Purpose Grow Formula Seaweed Brand Plant Food with Micronutrients. Such a long name. But yeah, so I would mix this with some lukewarm water. So I don't use cold water because I don't want to like, shock the plants, I guess. So you don't want to use hot water. So like warm water would be the best in my experience. But anyway, I would mix this. So this is a 16, 16, 16. So meaning that it, that's the nitrogen, phosphate, and the potassium is 16, 16, 16 by weight, right? And it's also, the good thing about this is also have micronutrients, right? So NPK is the main macronutrients the plants need, but then the plants also need micronutrients such as like iron, copper, zinc, and all that stuff to maintain good health. So that's why I picked this one. So anyway, like and also it's like higher in N and PK, because normally if I fertilize, I only use like 111 or 222 or something like that. But because of the condition of the plants, it's like really, really stressed out. So I picked something that is like higher in the NPK value. So I mixed this with the suggested amount of water, lukewarm water, and then in like a big tub. And then I basically just soak the whole plant in. So another question I got a lot is like, okay, so yeah, soak it, but how long, right? You're gonna soak it. I did some experiments, okay? And I used to do it overnight. Like, if I get it last night, I probably won't take it out until like this morning or like this afternoon, right? Just because I thought, the longer the better, because it was so dehydrated. And after a couple of times, I noticed that if I soak it for that long, the plants actually experience cell burst, meaning that it's absorbed too much water, and the cell, in the plants actually burst. And then how it's gonna look like there's like a lighter spot on the plant. So after a couple of times of that, I was like, okay, maybe overnight is overkill. So I decided to soak it for about like 6 to 7 hours, I would say. And then take it out, and then I air dry it, and then I see how the plants goes. If the plants still look really dehydrated after 6 or 7 hours, then what I'm gonna do next is, you know, if I decide to cut it in section, I would cut it in section and then soak it again for maybe another couple hours. So that's what I would do in order to, you know, rehab the plants in general. So yeah, so next I'm gonna show you, you know, if I decided the plant is like, the root system is like unsalvageable, you know, like I said, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like cut it up, right, and reroot it. So I want to show you this one. This root looks really bad, so I think it will be a perfect example. So yeah, so this root look pretty bad, you know, because it's like, you know, all brown and then it's all stringy. There's no life to it. Like you can, like if you touch it, it's like dry and just falling apart. So you see, I don't know if you can see, but yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut it. So here, so I'm just gonna cut off all this side. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna cut off the root from the side and leave the main stem intact. Okay, so I'm gonna do this right now so I can show you. So I'm just gonna cut off on the side. There you go, you can see it. Cut. You can still kind of smell the smell of the plant. Cut. So after I cut off all of that on the side, what I'm gonna do next is I want to determine, is this still alive? What is still alive, right? So what I'm gonna, that's why it's important to leave the whole thing, because you want to remain as much cushion as possible. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut a small section here, and then I'm gonna look into the plant. So you see the white sap coming out. So this tells me that this section of the stem is still alive. So I would just leave it as such and then try to root it up. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because I don't want to just, you know, cut off the whole stem and then leave very little node for myself to root. Because like, let's say if, you know, if it didn't root, you can like, you know, if it's rotted or anything like that in the rooting process, you can just keep like, you know, cutting it up. But if you cut too far out already, you won't have any room, and then you will have to toss that cutting. So this is how I would leave it and cut it. I may even cut it one more time right here. So same thing, you want to leave, oopsie, don't cut it by accident. You want to leave as much stem as possible. So I'm just gonna cut it right here. And then you can see the sap coming out, right? So mean that this is alive. So this is how I would deal with plants that come to me that it's like, the root is no good. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm just gonna propagate it in moss or perlite or quiet, whatever your preferred method is. I do have a video that's go for water and moss propagation, so I'm gonna link it somewhere if you guys are interested to find out. But I'm not gonna go into it because I already did a really detailed video on that. So anyway, this is how I cut it. So with plants that have like a, you know, more foliage, so what I'm gonna do first is like same thing. So as you can see, because this one have the bottom leaves have so much actually, hold on. This is a good example actually. So okay, this is perfect. So I want to show you this one. When you cut the plants, right, you want to look at the direction of the leaf as well. So you always want to root face up, because if you root face down, like if the leaf is face down, it will take a lot longer to root. So meaning that you're risking it to rot, you know, before its roots, right? So make sure that you look at this. It's important because I think this plant, when the grower grow it, because it's like a large plant, so it's probably gonna loop around a lot, trellis around a lot, and that's why this plant have two growing direction. The first growing direction is like obviously like the leaf facing up, but then if you go down here, you can see like some of the leaf are facing down. So make sure that you pay attention when you cut it. So, but you know, all in all, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut off, you know. So since this one is facing like this, right? So I'm probably gonna just cut right here, right? And then just cut off this dead root up here. So this will be a good cutting because I'm gonna like stick this, right? So same thing, just check, make sure it's alive. And I'm just gonna stick it in so it's root face up, right? And you know, you want to just do the rest. So how many nodes you want to leave, right? I would say like no more than 2 or 3 nodes. Because again, if you leave so much foliage on the plants when you do the cutting, it's gonna burden the plants a lot and then it may not root. You know, as fast or as much you want it to be, and then it may rot before it roots. So yeah, I would say like leave maybe like 2 or 3 nodes. Like this one would be like, you know, a good example. So yep, so basically that's what I do with plants that, you know, the root is just no good. All right, so let's say you are so lucky that when the plants come to you from whatever country, you know, the root looks good, it's could recover. So what you want to do instead of like cutting it off, and you want to give it a chance for it to recover. So what I would recommend you to do is like, you know, everything else the same, like, you know, you soak the plants, you inspect the plants and all that stuff, and then you want to pot it in a really well draining mix. So I normally would put it in my I would either put it in NECA, right, which is the clay balls, or I will put it in my woody well draining bark mix. So by woody well draining, I mean it's 60 to 70% bark and maybe 20-30% perlite. I will also put some charcoal in it, and the last 5 or 10% max would be some cactus soil. So as you can hear, it's really loose and airy, because the last thing you want, you know, the plants, the root system, that already weakened or delicate root system is, you know, you don't want it to rot. So that's why I put it in a woody well draining mix. So if you, you know, if you are so lucky that get a plant from overseas, the root system are like, you know, oh, it's good, it's salvageable, I'm gonna try to recover it, which happened. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, all the roots are dead, you know. But you know, sometimes, you know, you still get some good root system that you can potentially save. Then I would say, yeah, you know, give it a try, pot it in woody well draining mix. And more importantly, what you want to do next is observe. So make sure that you observe the plants after you pot it up. Like, you want to see if the leaf is actually like bouncing back. It is like, you know, is the waxy cuticle coming back? Is the leaf, you know, slowly getting that firmness? And those are all the signs to tell you that, oh yeah, the plant is recovering, because the root system are, you know, slowly, you know, strengthening again, and, you know, it's able to uptake water and nutrients and stuff like that, and that's how it show on the foliage. However, if like after like a few weeks, I would say like 2 weeks or so, you know, 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so, if the plants like still look lean and, you know, it start to yellow, then it's, you know, it's a pretty good sign to tell you that, okay, you know, the root is like, I can't recover. This is like, you know, too much, right? So you may want to take it out as soon as possible. And, you know, just repeat the procedure I show you, which is like, you know, okay, the root is no good, cut off the root system, you know, section the plants to 2 to 3 nodes each. And then if the plant looks really lean, I would even like soak it and dry it, and then you'll root it up. So that's how I would deal with plants that are like, you know, the root may be salvageable. Yeah, so that's how I would deal with that. All right, so I know it's a lot of information, but I feel like this is an extremely important topic for us to talk about, is how to rehab the plants when you actually get it. I understand that it's very tempting to order plants from overseas because, you know, it's cheaper. The plants are most of the time larger, and then there's so many more varieties in comparison to the US, you know, at a more reasonable price. So yeah, so I know it's very tempting. But I would like highly recommend, you know, if you decide to do so, make sure that you do your homework. So go back and check out my video on like how to set expectations and the kind of regulations and stuff like that you have to pay attention on before you order. And then also familiar yourself with like all the stuff that we just talked about, like what to do when you actually receive the plants from from your sellers. So those are all really important things to understand before you actually decided to order plants. And because you don't, number one, you don't want to waste your money, because if you don't know what to expect, or if you don't know the regulations, the plants may get confiscated and you will basically just lose all the money. Like, however much you spend on the plants will be gone. And even when the plants get to you, if you don't know how to rehab it, the plants will die eventually. You also lose your money, and then it's very heartbreaking to not be able to keep a plant alive. So yeah, make sure you do your homework. It is not, as much as I hate to say it, is not that simple, but it does come with practice and experience. And yeah, so I hope this is helpful. And if you have any other question that you may have regarding to importing plants, make sure that you leave in the comment below. I may do another series on, different question that you may bring up in terms of importing plants, because it's just like a big topic in the plants community. And as always, if you like this video, make sure you click like. If you want more future video, make sure you click subscribe. And I will see you next time. Bye.